You want to move one of those chairs to the middle, you can.
Oh, cool.
All right, everybody, we're going to start with Lindsay until Kelsey gets done with her testing. So we can get started with questions for LA. Pat, want to start anything for Lindsay?
Sure. Hi, Lindsay. Those games against Las Vegas earlier in the year were, I know, a challenge for you guys, but it seems like you're a pretty significantly different group from then. How do you view where you guys were then versus where you are now?
Yeah, I think then we were still trying to figure ourselves out and just kind of figure out how to play together and how to work together, and just our system as well. And so, yeah, it seems like it was so long ago. And just, yeah, it wasn't a great showing for us in Vegas, but I think we've grown so much since then. It's been almost 2 months, right? So we're looking forward to playing them again, but also realizing that they're a different team and they're growing and they're ramping up and they're trying to get that that number one seed going into the playoffs. And so it should be a good battle.
Yeah, you know well how good this team is. What's the key to slowing a group that has so many weapons like they do?
Yeah, I think with them, it's trying to limit their paint points, I think. And that's tough because, I mean, they have an all-star in Asia, an MVP in Asia, and then an all-star and MVP caliber in Liz Cambage, so it's going to be tough. But I think we're focusing on just kind of limiting their transition stuff and making sure that we're taking good shots. They're not able to sort of get open in the free court and get running and get a head start in that way.
That game out in Dallas, it looked like it was perhaps going to follow a similar pattern that those first two games on the road trip did, and that you guys were playing pretty well. You were right there at the end. But in Dallas, you guys closed really strongly and were able to get that win. What did it mean for you guys to be able to close a road trip where overall, Marianne said she felt like you guys were playing pretty well, but to be able to close it with a win and to get, you know, some validation for the effort you guys were giving?
Yeah, I thought it was very important. I think, you know, we had lost in Phoenix by 4 or 5 points and then lost in LA by 4 or 5 points. And so it's just like, you know, we're right there, just a few lapses here and there in the third and fourth quarter. And so I think in Dallas, you know, we only had 7 players. And so we were down a lot of players. And it's just kind of digging deep and trying to get that win on the last game of the road trip so we can go home with a good feeling. But yeah, it felt really good to get that win and just kind of be able to put that in the column and have that momentum going into this week.
Last one for me. You can make a case that that was your best game of the year. Was there anything specifically that was clicking for you?
No, I think just being confident and knowing that my teammates and coaches had confidence in me. And, you know, we really had nothing to lose there as a team, you know, with the 7 players and all that stuff. And so just kind of playing as hard as we can, staying together as a team and just sticking to our scout and sticking to what we do as a Fever.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Pat. Anne Marie, welcome. Anything for Lindsay this morning?
I do. Hey, Lindsay. Wondering with this little bit of a break, it's nice to see you again, what you guys were able to work on during this last week.
Yeah, I think for us, it's just kind of keeping up with our conditioning and all that sort of stuff, and also fine-tuning some stuff from the offensive end. And, you know, we want to play freely and get things moving, have movement and all that stuff, but we also want to be able to kind of script things a little bit more and be able to tell, you know, where other players would be out there on the court. So I think that's what we kind of worked on. And also defensively, making sure we're stopping the ball and talking on defense and making sure we're getting our show defense, you know, where it should be. And so that we're helping each other out there.
Just for a little bit of storytelling purposes, how much time did you guys spend together post-Olympic break before the second half started? Did you get 2 weeks, 10 days, a week together? What'd you get?
We got 3 weeks together, actually. So we got 2 weeks off, completely vacation stuff, things like that. And then we got 3 weeks of practice, you know, like days off here and there, things like that. But yeah, we had 3 weeks of practice. So I thought it was good for us to just sort of get that time together where there's no games, just practices, and being able to learn each other more and put in some new offensive stuff, play against some guys, and just kind of keep things relatively stress-free without any games.
And then final one for me, you talked about those 2 close games just recently, and you said there were just a couple of lapses there at the end of the game. Can you pinpoint 1 or 2 things that we should look for that you're going to tighten up that you felt were lapses as a team late in the third, fourth quarter?
Yeah, I think for us, it's just kind of our execution. And I think, knowing what we're running on the offensive end, knowing where we're looking to get the ball and who we want to be shooting it. And I think that's kind of where we're trying to grow, where we're trying to get to eventually. But just making sure we're getting a good shot and that we're not getting down to like 2 seconds left in the shot clock and someone's just throwing up a shot just because we have to. But I think that's what we're trying to get to in these next 9 games I think we have left.
Something like that. Thank you, LA.
Yep, no problem.
Thank you, Anne Marie. Carolyn Peck, anything for LA?
Yes. Hey, Lindsay, to follow up on what Anne Marie was asking, especially over the break, who do you think has benefited the most over that practice time?
I'm trying to think. I think everyone has, just because everyone has been here and we just kind of have had our core here. And so what you saw in the Dallas game, yeah, we were down a couple players, but the players who were there, they were there for the full 3 weeks. So me, D-Rob, Kelsey, Tori, Big T, Emma came in. Emma's such a vet that she kind of just plugs in wherever, which is great. But I think just having that core there throughout the whole time, working together, playing for each other, playing together, it's just been super, super important. And so I think we have a greater appreciation for each other, and knowing that like we have each other's backs, and that if we stay together as a team, instead of just letting the adversity kind of pull us apart, just sticking together, I think we should be good.
And you mentioned Emma. Emma has experience with the Aces. What has she brought to you guys?
I think Emma, more than anything, just that veteran presence, that voice in the locker room, that voice on the court, but also just being able to kind of plug in wherever on the court. And, she's just trying to do her best and help the team any way she can. And she's such a good screener, such a good rebounder, plays incredibly hard with just a ton of heart. And so I think that's what we need on this team. And that's kind of what we've been missing overall, I think. And I think having Emma just kind of plug into that and knowing that she's a great teammate and she's just here to help us and kind of help us succeed in any way that we can.
And lastly, going through a challenging season like this, what is it that Marianne has, the message she's delivered to keep you all moving forward?
I think with us and listening to what Marianne is saying, it's just kind of sticking with it and knowing that, yeah, there aren't really any moral victories, but just knowing that, there are things that we can control that we have to do better. And so that's promising that, we can improve, and it's not anything that's just completely out of our control that we can't do anything about. And so just continuing to plug away every single day and just improve whatever we have to improve kind of game by game is important for us.
Great. Thank you.
Yep, no problem.
All right. Thank you, LA. I'll go get Kelsey and bring her in next for everybody.
Cool. Thank you.
All right, we'll get started with Kelsey here. Pat, want to start anything for Kelsey this morning?
Sure. Hi, Kelsey. I know those games against Las Vegas were a challenge, but they were so far ago in the season, over a couple of months ago. Where do you feel like your team has changed the most? And have you guys even discussed those Las Vegas games when preparing for this one?
I think we prepared for them as best as we possibly could up until this point. Although it was a while ago since we played them, we obviously know that they're really freaking amazing. I think we changed from a standpoint of like we've been able to string together a game of 40 minutes now. So that's kind of like exciting for us because I think we can compete on both sides of the floor for an entire game.
Without giving away game plan necessarily, sometimes teams choose to try to defend Las Vegas where guards go and help on Asia and Liz. As a guard, what's the key to being successful against a team that has so many options, especially at forward and center?
I think for us, it's going to be able to know personnel. Obviously, they have different pieces for their team, so that's what makes them so amazing. I think at the end of the day, we have to buckle down on the personnel aspect of the game and understand what people are good at, what's their strengths and weaknesses. When it's time to go and, if we decide to double to the post, the backside is going to always be a help side for us to go.
Great. That's all I have. Thank you.
Carolyn, anything for Kelsey?
Yes, I do. I just boarded a plane. I'm sorry. Kelsey, what has been the biggest thing for you as far as your progression through the season?
I think for me, it's been able to honestly, it's just growth, mentally understanding that having confidence in my game and be able to know that I can, do different things and apply different pressure based on what defenses are giving me. I've also been able to recognize the stuff that I need to do better off the floor. So that's watching film, know my personnel as far as knowing when I'm watching film, and just kind of understanding that this is a process and I got to be okay with that process.
Other than yourself, who else has been able to evolve their game as you have?
I think our entire team has. I think this Olympic break was good for us. It was good for us from a standpoint of mentally. Sometimes you just got to reset or recharge. I think that was a big deal for us because obviously we won't win the game. So I think the reset button got hit once Olympic break came. And I think that it kind of put us all in a position of where we want to be better as a team and as individual players.
All right, I think that's it today, Kelsey. Thank you so much. Carolyn, safe travels. We'll see you all here shortly. And thanks everybody else for joining us.
Safe travels, Carolyn. Be careful. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.